Scorpio is downstairs, Pisces is in the back, or Pisces could be in bed. I think that maybe some people were downstairs, some people were upstairs. I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
kept seeing stairs, and I believe the girls were upstairs.
okay, the girls were upstairs.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I'm wondering what that Scorpio is. Could be the bathroom. There might have been some type of a shock when they were, because Scorpio can be the bathroom. There's just a lot of like water, like Scorpio is wet, Cancer is wet.
There were tools used. They used tools. I don't know, like
Mhm.
average tools in the killing. Most likely the police have some unusual lacerations that they couldn't quite identify, and it could be because of the uniqueness of what they were using.
Some kind of a shop, and the guy was saying how the police came to ask him, question him about the weapons that he carries in his shop. And they told him that they were looking for a certain type of like a Rambo knife, and it was popular after World War II. So that's why when I see Mars in the ninth house, Mars is a weapon, and it's trine Saturn. So that's like an old type of knife, but it was a big knife. And I think there's a yod. The astrologers on here will see that there's a yod with Mars at the top, and it's like those little green lines, and it makes a little triangle between the stellium in the second and Pluto in the fourth. And that is like it's awful. It's this well, it's sexual energy. This, I thought at first it was a rapist, but I guess these are killers, and one at least was intent on raping. In the fourth house, that shows what the end of the matter was. So Pluto would be, that would be the end, where that intent was an attack, a sexual attack. There's got to be some kind of a military or something where there's an association with military. What do you think?
It's a possibility that one of the people does wear what I would consider plain clothes for work, like blue collared shirt.
Okay.
So it is possible that he could be in some kind of a security, but I'm not getting
You're not getting military.
military.
Okay.
But one of the guys is fully bald, totally
Okay.
bald. And I'm getting about 23 for an age of one, 26 for another possibly, or about, I mean, they kind of look about the same age, but one guy is really skinny and the other guy is big and hefty. This goes further back than the food truck. So they were watching them before that time.
Yeah.
I actually feel that they were possibly watched from their apartment too. The girl with the dark hair knew a lot, or was suspicious of things.
Okay.
She was quite intuitive as well. And if it's possible, I might be connecting with her. Do you know her first name? The one with the dark hair?
Yes, Xana.
Very close to her mom.
Oh, it's so sad.
She's yeah, she's trying to, we haven't done this before really on these videos, but in sometimes there will be a victim that comes through to me and I'm getting messages from them. I'm actually going to be looking up something because I have some names of areas. What was the town called again?
Moscow.
Idaho.
Moscow, Idaho. Yes.
Okay, I'm just going to be looking up something, and if you want to
Yeah, look it up
talk,
real.
that's fine.
Hang on, I'm going to take a quick break. You keep talking.
Okay.
Right back.
There was something that. Okay, so I'm still getting right now. I'm getting two perpetrators here, but why have one of our last cases was on the Idaho-Washington border, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. We've got a lot of Idaho. This reminds me actually of in a very distant manner. It reminds me of the Theo Hayes case in Australia, where backpacker, completely different situation, but the crime began with him at a bar, and he was asked to leave. Not that the girls were, but there was something that went on in the bar that nobody could really figure out what happened. So I can imagine that the police are all over that bar questioning whoever it was. Everyone's talking, and I really think that even though Mars is retrograde here, and that shows that the police are limited in their ability, it shows that they're weak, even though it looks like they're very capable, and they're working with different agencies. It looks like they're putting 100% of their effort into this. With Mercury retrograde, there are just things that they're not going to find out. They're weak, or weaker than they would if Mars was direct.
Okay,
Yeah, go
so
ahead.
I was getting the letter P
Mhm.
in an area. So if they're looking for suspects, I was getting a little letter P. There is a town called Pullman, and it's on the Washington state side. At first, I kept hearing Pocatello,
Okay.
Idaho, which I would just put on the back burner for right now. It could be
Mhm.
telling me to go to the letter P. Other letter with a place, and I'm talking about places where these suspects might have been from, or might have been hanging out or living. But I'm also getting a letter K,
Okay.
and I don't.
Yeah, now here's the kicker, which I didn't mention. We were
Mhm.
so focused on the victims, but Sheffy says there were two other girls in the house that were not touched. So that's
Yeah,
just,
yeah, they
and
were in another room.
that goes with, I think, what you were saying. Lisa is saying, what happened to their dog? Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. Yeah, I don't.
Dog, I'm getting kitchen downstairs, and oh, I think a dog was locked in the closet.
Okay.
I actually think it was locked downstairs.
It's interesting that the moon is dog,
Mhm.
and I think dog, and it's also female energy. It's when you see a theme in a chart, it's going to be the 10th house, and you see Black Moon Lilith there right next to Moon. Black Moon Lilith is lust, so I would almost say lust for women is what brought this on. So
Um,
okay, let's see what Midwest Girl says. The two girls heard a ruckus, but didn't think anything of it, just locked their door. God, that might have actually saved their life. I didn't realize that. Thanks, Midwest Girl.
I think that's what I saw. Um,
Hi,
okay.
Connor. Thanks for joining us tonight.
There is, I think, a witness in the area in where they lived, not
Mhm,
in the building, but somewhere else. So they might have questioned somebody who saw a car.
mhm.
By the way, I'm getting Dodge for some reason.
Okay. A
I
silver Dodge,
I
maybe.
don't think a truck, but I can't be sure.
It looks like a truck. I think, was it
The
somebody?
the grill of it looks like a truck, but I know Dodge is kind of famous for some of their even muscle type cars to have pretty predominant grills, but it could be a truck.
Yeah.
Um, oh. It's possible this truck also has the customized exhaust pipes that go upward from the bed.
Okay.
So you know what I mean? If you've ever seen those trucks that have the customized exhaust that comes up behind the cab.
Okay. God, that's a
That's just
detail. I don't know if I'd ever see that in the chart. What I do see is Jupiter in the 6th is trining Mercury, so that can be a large vehicle.
um there's some other things too. Are they suspecting that these are kids that are part of the school? Because I'm getting off-campus jobs. So I
Okay.
don't, you know,
You're not getting that. You're not getting college men. I almost
no.
see guys who might have gone to the college and have graduated because of Mars trining Saturn. That's kind of like guys return
Yeah.
to, because Saturn means return, and at a trine, if it's a square, it means death. But if it's a trine, it'll mean return. So these men return to campus in the ninth.
There's yes, I think that that kind of fits. I'm getting a number 5 as well, possibly with an address or street.
Okay.
The other thing that I get is, this is gonna sound kind of weird, but a trash or recycling place
Mhm.
in the area where somebody might work.
Okay.
I don't know if anything talks about trash in the charts, but I kept seeing landfill,
Okay.
um, or possibly, wait, hold on. Um, I'm just gonna look at, the layout of the town real quick, because I mean, that's probably, that's usually the most important part. Hold on, where am I? Moscow. Okay, there we are. Um, yeah, definitely. If I look at this map, I'm gonna probably get some areas for them to check.
I can pull up to the map if you'd have to give me a second though.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm gonna just kind of snoop around.
Okay.
I'll tell you why I was getting. Oh, there is a Fifth Street, so we do have a number 5 on the map.
Mhm. The
Um,
address, sometimes you like to look at the address and, it was 1122. I don't know the name of the street. I wanna say it was King Street or something.
the
11
address of the apartment, you mean?
Yeah. Mhm.
Okay. I'm just kind of, and which university was this?
This was University of Idaho.
Okay, I see it. I
Mhm.
see it. Um,
Okay, so Sheffy's saying that there were 5 roommates and the boyfriend was visiting.
okay.
Yeah, so that would explain, Venus being women, and it's conjunct Mercury, so they're young women, and there's a group of women, okay? And in Scorpio, I mean, that's sexy women. That's, women who, are attractive to others. So that sun there is right there in the 3rd house, that is a rental. So that's the apartment. They're all that right there in the apartment.
Um, does anybody know out there, what bar was that?
I
It
wanna
wasn't
say
on campus,
it
right?
was called the Corner Bar, I think.
Corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
Corner Bar. And then there was another one that one of the girls worked at was, Mad Greek was the other, one, but I don't think that they were there. I think it was just, they might have stopped by there, but I know that they were talking about the Corner Bar.
Okay.
Thanks
Um,
everyone who is just joining us. We are just going through our clues. You may know Todd. He is a wonderful psychic investigator, also a psychic, and does amazing readings. I am a big believer he has told me so many things months ahead of time. I'm shocked sometimes. So I'm going to put his information in the description
And
box.
you're very shocked about the uh, about your kind of like room habits and leaving your laundry in baskets and stuff. So
Well, let's not tell everyone that.
okay,
Look,
well,
I tried to do my laundry one time, Todd, and you had to describe what it looked like.
and then I said something about your father or something, or some health thing about him,
Let me
right?
tell you, my dad, we were thinking that he was diagnosed with cancer, and so I talked to Todd about it, and he said something about my dad's back, and who, like, from where I was coming from, who has cancer in their back? And 6 months later, he was cured in the area of cancer, but then they found more cells in his spine, and so he's being treated on his spine now, and it's just shocking. I can't believe that you saw that. And, I was thinking, oh, are you talking back pain? Like, what do you mean? And it just
Just the
came up.
back area.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he's doing great, and
Oh, that's good.
he's got some great, amazing Uranus-like treatments. Like, I think he's the second person to receive it. So,
Oh,
things are
right.
very hopeful. He's a happy camper. Anyway,
Oh,
enough about me.
I'm yeah, so I'm looking at the area, and do they already have suspects? I mean, do they
The only
just
thing as of right now, from what I've seen, they know who that guy at the food truck is. They know who he is.
okay?
They may have some other um, suspects.
Yeah.
Now, there was also another crime that happened in the days before this,
Yeah.
blocks away, and I don't.
Yeah, I was getting kind of okay. I was getting in the beginning a serial killer type of thing here.
Yes, yeah,
I'm just let me see what at least one of the suspects been in prison.
okay,
I think oh, that's weird. I haven't heard this one, but assisted homicide. Almost like it wasn't first degree murder, but second degree. This person
okay.
might have been in
That was
for.
the charge. He was like a, yeah, I get it.
So this has a definite not amateur but serial killer feel. Very uh, hard strength there. I mean, I feel pushing on the throat like you wouldn't believe. So that would come up in the forensics.
Yeah,
There's tying. I think there was some tying of the arms. Um, I get I get something covering their faces,
Jesus.
like a mask.
Well, this is something completely different than what everybody's thinking, because they think, okay, it was this one guy at the food truck. This is not that one guy at the food truck, it seems like.
It You know what? I know it sounds kind of weird, like they're looking at him as a suspicious one. It's very possible it's not.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of looking at him as not the main person and maybe not even connected to this.
Okay,
Let me get into some clothing too. The material of the clothing that one was wearing was extremely rough canvas.
okay,
I'm getting one seems pretty built, like he works out quite a bit.
okay.
Um, and
I mean, what are we looking at here? Are we looking at more than 2?
it's possible. at first, when I first started this, I got 3, and
Okay.
then I'm only getting identification for 2. Well, I don't know. One of them has an ID from Washington.
Geez. Washington State.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking at IDs. In fact, it's very possible both might have a Washington ID. I just have to look at the Idaho license plate because I don't know what it looks like. Hold on one sec.
Okay. It's really stunning of the and people are already picking this up and talking about it online and how there are similarities with the Chi Omega murders and how, Ted Bundy, he just went in there and there were 4 people who were murdered. There were quite a few similarities, I think. I
Oh,
wrote some of them down. Now, that was January 15th, 1978. That was also around 3 a.m. Moon was opposing Pluto, like here, which is like an obsession for women. Mars was also retrograde, I believe. Sun was also conjunct Venus in the second house, as it was in one of the charts I showed here. There was a Scorpio ascendant because that was the what he thought. I suppose the victims had that scorpionic type of appeal. Sexy women, college women. In that case, the South Node, which means what is left behind, was in Aries. He left a lot of blood. Same thing here. There was a ton of blood. And but in this chart, you're seeing South Node in Scorpio. And a lot of times that shows that like sexual fluid was left behind. So they might be able to test to see if there's some kind of, you know,
oh, there's some brutal, yeah, there's some brutal stuff there. I mean, I could just see from here.
yeah.
And
Now, what's
there was also something in their mouth too. So there was something to keep them from talking.
okay, so that's probably why they weren't screaming then. It almost makes me think because the door was not broken into. You say there were tools though. Um,
Something just looked like I know it sounds weird, but it almost looks like somebody was putting an address. Oh,
yeah, 1122 Kings Road.
oh,
That's
is
where
that where it was?
yep.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your
I something looked like an ice pick.
Jesus. Well, they were saying that there was before they were looking at the weapon initially and or before they were saying that it was a big, big weapon, a Rambo type weapon. They were looking at a jagged
Mm,
weapon. So an
serrated.
ice pick would be, yeah.
Yeah, there were some questions about the weapons, but hold on well, was this a hotel or was this an apartment?
It was
Did
an
I
apartment.
what was the address? 11
22 Kings Road, Moscow.
oh, 11 I got a hotel.
Oh,
Um,
it's funny that you got a hotel because there's a lot of Pisces energy, and Pisces represents a hotel. So it would not surprise me if we heard of a hotel in this whole thing,
I
because
didn't
we're
get
going to be
any.
seeing some strong Pisces themes.
Yeah, I didn't get anything, so I'm just gonna leave it.
Okay.
Um, yeah, I mean, I guess right now, hold on. Yeah, so I'm getting a serial killer type thing, and
Yeah.
I feel like they would attack just
Yeah.
quickly, you know, that
Mhm.
this isn't like a stalker type situation.
All right, I'm gonna show you. This is Grizzly TV, Gazella. She's great. We love Gazella. And hang on one second. Let me. just share my screen. I'm glad you guys are here. Don't forget to hit the like button if you like this show, and also share if you can. And we love the support. We're just a little channel, so and that's fine. It's our little group, our psychic group. We've got a lot of astrologers who come on here, very talented astrologers, and sometimes they're not here to learn. They just want to know what another astrologer thinks. They want to validate some of the research that they've already done on a case. So we're glad you're here too. And yes, love getting insight from the charts and intuitively from Todd. It really makes a difference because we can go back and forth and look and see, different details. Get the
I thought
impression.
the ones who weren't harmed actually might have been sharing a room, or they were in the room together at the time. So I was getting
Well,
sharing.
yeah. And I'm almost thinking that now there was quite a bit of time that went by before I believe that the police were called.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I wonder if they went to sleep and then woke up and, maybe they didn't hear anything. That's a possibility. Or they were just too scared. I'm sure they had their phones on them, though. So it's hard.
And what was the time that they found them? Or
I think it wasn't until 12 the next day that the police finally
12 noon?
yeah, the police finally now and that's from what I'm remembering, I might be wrong.
I'm getting around 2 a.m. to even 4 a.m.
Mhm.
There is video footage, and I'm sure they've checked this, but video footage at a gas station near there of the perpetrators.
Okay.
I know this sounds weird, and I'll have to double check, but it's a gas station I don't recognize, but I think I've seen it visiting out west, called Sinclair. Is that a gas station?
I don't
Sinclair.
know, we'll have to check it out, and that would make
I don't know why I got Sinclair gas, but the color green seems significant with something, and especially possibly clothes. I was getting green,
mhm,
like almost like if I saw the rough material jacket, it could have been like
like an
army. So
army,
maybe that is tying into what you were saying about army.
military type of, material.
Ooh, they're creepy. They're creepy because they're just um, definitely um, sex perpetrators here. Within about 4 to 6 months of this incident, police should be looking into a homicide of a Black woman,
Good lord.
possibly in the area, as a connection. They might have a connection to something that happened during that year. Um, not like this group, but these were individual ones. One I'm getting near a park, possibly, or something about a park. Um, it might have been like a mugging, but I see some ties here, like they've been coming out of the woodwork and just
Mercury is brothers or two. It shows twins in a sense, people who look like each other. And I automatically thought that with Venus there, it showed two girls that looked alike, and that was the case here. But I didn't think that the perps could actually be brothers. And also with Scorpio, it can also show that, there's an adopted person in the mix, or one of the brothers was an adopted brother or something like that. So you might see that theme, since Scorpio means adoptions and other people's. So
By the way, I'm getting tattoos, and it's very possible, I'm not sure, but it could be either on hands, fingers, or on the arms. But I was getting triangles. I was getting I will just put it out there.
okay.
But in the 20s age group, let's
Yeah.
just say, I'm getting somebody in the year of the tiger.
Sometimes the chart can be just really literal when it's showing us clues.
I see somebody with almost albinic eyes. I'm just looking it up here for a year of the tiger. Will give me an age group.
It would be like
But you know,
24.
if people want to ask questions, they can too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely welcome questions. So just look up my name, Todd, and Segal, Segal, and you'll see my website. And you know, I do like either relationship readings, or they can be serious crimes, that kind of thing. On the I announced on my Facebook page on the first of the month, or the first week of the month, I'm doing a special sale on readings for that week every month. So if people
Okay,
want to
good.
try it out, and
Yes.
sometimes I go live on Facebook and I answer questions for free.
That's
So
right. That's fun. I love when you do that.
19, okay. I'm getting here for I'm getting Earth Tiger.
Chart
So I'm
teaching.
getting 26 years old for
Okay.
one possibly. This is the sign of the tiger
Okay.
in Earth. If you don't know what this means, it's Chinese astrology, and basically I'm just I sometimes, you know, ages are hard because you know, like I deal with,
We've got a comment here. Do you think this will be solved?
yeah, I think so.
I think so too. I think, well, here's the thing, and then I'm going to get onto my clue here. You said in another 6 months something about a girl. Do you foresee this as another crime?
There
In
could be something else. Yes,
okay,
this has that serial killer feel
okay,
about it, like they won't stop. I'm
yeah,
getting a lot about um oh, so yeah, there could be something else coming up with these people. The other thing too is, yeah, a lot of anger and hate. Do I see anything psychologically different about these criminals? Um, I'm getting a lot of alcohol, um, and there could be quite a bit of uh, drug use. I know this sounds weird, but they were using these little ropes, like these little very strong little ropes in when they were there. I don't know what they were doing with them, but
Jesus.
it's almost like they came equipped with their,
Those plastic things, are they plastic? That would be Pisces.
well, not those. Um, it's kind of sensitive material, but this has to do with the sexual act.
Okay. Okay. So this was obviously planned. It's the ninth house. So the ninth house is of planning, and Mars is the perpetrator. And Mars in the ninth house would be the perpetrator planned it. But because it's retrograde, it was a shitty plan. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say that on YouTube, but
That's
um,
okay. I say worse.
okay. Yeah, but you're on Facebook. So,
No, I use YouTube
okay.
sometimes.
Um, the other thing too is, when we look at these crime charts, and sometimes we talk to investigators, whether they're PIs or law enforcement, and every once in a while when we do, They want to know what happened. They want to know a lot of different things. But the one thing that these charts or a psychic investigator can help with is, how is this case going to be solved? Because you can find that out by looking at this chart. You can figure it out.
Oh, you
And
can't.
you can see where the evidence is, where they're going to get the evidence, if the person's going to go to jail. And here I put the personal name asteroid Madison in the first house. In the first house is the victim, what the victim looks like. Libra would show someone who has a nice appearance. Excuse me. Trining Saturn shows maybe there is some kind of, because it's the fifth house, there's access to someone who is older, who is evil, 18 degrees, okay? And it seems like that person was able to, well, the fifth house is obviously the bar, but I almost think that, God, there seems to be a
I
lot.
mean, you know what? Age-wise, there could be one of these people could be a little bit older. That's
Yeah,
very possible, and
yeah, I think
I
so.
think maybe in their 40s. It is possible.
The way the police are going to get DNA, you can see that because, well, DNA would be Uranus in the eighth house, and that's like sexual
Mhm,
DNA. Okay. And there's a square to, the victims who are in, at this point at 3 a.m., they're in the second house. I wish I knew what that was. Second house sometimes can mean a small space, can mean, like, for instance, with that trine with moon, that's like the dog in the closet. That would be an example of how
mhm.
that would manifest there. But it just seems like there's something that Madison has, like some kind of a history, like an online history that may show how this person may have tried to contact her before. Saturn is to go back. So that's something that the police no doubt are going to do. They're going to look at all of their digital history and take a look at that. But my guess is they're going, and that's Mars. Mars at the top would be the police. In the ninth house, police from foreign lands, or foreign places. So, you probably have some New Yorkers. By the way, isn't it weird how you pull the personal name asteroid and it's right in the eighth house, for Ted, like Ted Bundy.
Mhm.
So, it's almost like they wanted, it's like either they wanted to copy it, or that's what people are talking about. That's what
No,
witnesses are talking about. There's a lot of similarities.
one weird clue, I don't know what it pertains to, but I'm looking on the map right now, but I get the name Frog.
Okay.
And what does this mean? I mean, maybe there's a frog street, or maybe he has a tattoo of a frog, or
Yeah.
that's one little clue. And
Frog. I wonder what that's
sometimes
about.
these weird things come about. Well,
Yeah.
well, actually, funny enough, all right, I'll give you some trivia about myself. Because I just heard from an old friend of mine yesterday who I grew up with, him and his brother.
Mhm.
And do you know what my nickname was when I
Wha
was younger?
what's that?
Toad.
Oh my god,
They
that's a
used to call me bro Toad, and
oh, okay.
that was my name. And my sister called me Turd.
Oh,
Um,
Jesus. That's
that
terrible.
was oh that was the joy of having an older sister.
Mhm.
And so yeah, those nicknames when I was younger.
Well, yeah.
It reminded me of that. I was just like, okay,
How
frog.
did the other girls survive that night? That's a good question. I'm looking in the second house there. There's witnesses, there's a group of girls, and it's all in and this is 3 a.m. This is right around the time of the murder. I wish I knew what that second house was. It's like, I wanna say it's the kitchen, they brought their food home, and,
Mhm.
maybe they're near the couch or something like that.
I get a lounge too, a lounge.
Okay, a lounge. But how did they survive that night? So it would be the other girls, and
I honestly think they might have been asleep in a separate room, separate part of the house. Um,
yeah,
these girls were, at least one of these girls you were talking about, I forget her name, but you were talking about her with an online presence or something connected to online.
mhm.
Um, somebody was saying Toad. And
Wow, I was just about to ask if Frog was a nickname, and Todd talked
um,
about the nickname. That's too
so there
funny.
is I wouldn't doubt that there might be, a connection to one of the girls and some entity online because you remember I said that this wasn't random, like somebody just saw them at the bar. And then I was looking, okay, well, is it a campus sort of thing? No, I'm not getting a campus sort of thing. So I'm wondering, where were they watched from? Did somebody pull up her photo somewhere? So there feels like some tracking here.
Okay, I got another clue. Ninth house is a road, and it's ruled by Gemini, and that means two roads. With Mars in the ninth, it could show that the person he's traveling, or his profile is like twin highways. Maybe that's how he got to or came from, but there's like two different highways that are very similar. Whenever we see Gemini, we look for twin things. So that's a possibility and something that I'll probably look up on the map unless somebody else wants to. Um, so that's what I get
Is
there.
is there a sign that I guess represents the type of killing, whether it be knife, gun, um,
You
weapon?
mean like a signature? Yeah. Well, with Mars, Mars is going to give us what it was. The jagged part is interesting. I haven't really seen that too much. I want to say that squaring Neptune might be, without a clean blade that could be jagged. And then trine Saturn, that's ice. That could be ice pick. With Mars, Saturn would be ice pick. So that's a possibility. But yeah, there are certain signatures where like Mars and Uranus would be like a gunshot. If it like Mars was squaring Uranus.
Yeah, I would definitely check. I mean, if they were looking into the knives at some of the shops nearby,
They're looking at big,
mhm.
weapons, but Mars and Gemini shows there were 2 weapons or that they were like, maybe smaller in size.
Well, one of the knives actually had a twist-off thing to carry a compartment, stuff inside of it, is what I'm getting from one of the handles.
Jesus.
They do sell those, but I am getting, if they're looking for a location, I'm actually going over the border in Washington State for some reason.
Okay. Okay, good to know. Geez, another signature for Ted Bundy who lived in Washington. Um, okay, so we'll continue to look at this chart. Everyone, I would say that you look where the stellium is, which is, in Scorpio, Mercury, what's on a person's mind. Scorpio can be revenge, it can be obsession. And I do agree with the police that it could have been targeted, but it doesn't mean that they're not going to strike again. So that goes back to what you were saying, Todd, that these people may have known these girls. They cause attention when they go back and forth. Maybe people saw them in this neighborhood, but
So you were asking too, what's or I don't know if somebody was asking what is the lead into catching them, and I feel by a vehicle.
Okay.
So I'm getting something about a vehicle, that there might be a vehicle that's identified in the area, something that
Yes.
that they're looking for, but it's something about the vehicle.
And you know what? I think we're gonna see that vehicle soon. I think they're going to get, something, maybe it was at the gas station, they'll
Yeah.
see somebody silver, and the reason I say that is because when you see moon up in the 10th house, that's, like, famous. It's like
Mhm.
something is made famous in this chart, and then trine, Neptune is like a famous CCTV video, so, or the public will have access, they will see these, these killers being sun. So that's that triangle right there. The sun is the killer,
Mhm.
trine is moon. The public will see the killer, and it's already happened at the food truck. But I think that there is a very good possibility that people will see the car, and that's gonna come next probably.
Do you know, the, um, how should I say, like in World War II in Germany, the cross? Do you remember
Mm,
seeing, it's something that, oh, let me look it up. It's something about, okay, it is called, the yeah, this looks like it, like the Iron Cross. It was a military decoration in Prussia and later in the German Empire and in Nazi Germany.
okay,
I got something of ornament or necklace possibly with something like that
okay,
connected to one of them, silver. Um, that was one clue. There was one other possible little clue. I know it sounds very weird, but, I feel one of these people might raise fish or have fish aquariums in their home,
mhm.
and that would mean that they're sometimes going to get food at some of these places,
Fish
so
stores, yeah,
fish supplies, so I
that's a
got
good
a
call.
activity about that.
Like a pet store.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 6th house of pets. Oh god, look at that. You're amazing, Todd. The 6th house is the pets, and it's ruled by Pisces. That's a fish or pet fish. That's amazing. Yeah, I could totally see that. And then opposing Ceres, that's fish food. And so, I don't know, kind of
Huh.
a crazy, um clue, and they always seem crazy, and then you start seeing them start coming out in your
Yeah, I
lives.
mean, like work, I'm always trying to find something. I was talking to a detective the other day about a case and really zero evidence to them. So I'm always trying to find an angle, something that they can attach to, which leads to something else. Like if I see a guy frequently going to an auto parts store, okay, it's a good lead in because in the area that we're looking, we know where that person might be going. You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
Even if it's a food place, if I see the guy is eating hot wings a lot, then there's maybe very few places that have good hot wings, and I'm always trying to find some angle, not just making it up, but things that I see.
yeah,
Um, there's not a lot with these guys because I get a lot of, I just, they're definitely, I mean, if even if we're talking about one, we're still talking about a real maniac, a real serial killer that will just keep going. This wasn't a one-time incident, but I really thought there were two people by
yeah,
the force of being overtaken. This wasn't,
yeah,
just like, "Hi, I'm holding you ransom, just sit here. This was by force.
Yeah.
And
And they were not expecting Ethan to be there, that's for sure. One
he,
thing.
he was also murdered, right?
Yes, he was.
And it was
I
it
think he was trying
from
to defend.
the neck or something? Because I'm getting something about his neck, and I'm also wow, they had something. I don't know if it was the end of the knife handle or something, a blunt object, wound. So that's why I was saying like an ice pick or a hammer, but it just was very blunt and metal, you know.
What would you say to students right now? It's a
Say
tough
to them,
question.
what's
What's that?
that?
What would you say to students right now, especially female students who are University of Idaho students?
They're okay. I don't think this is. I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't think it's a campus, you know, uh, killer.
It seems
Um,
like it. I mean, we've got a serial killer. He's near a campus. Why wouldn't he be a serial killer
yeah,
by the camp?
I think they do have security there.
Okay.
Um,
But you're
and
saying that something is gonna happen maybe in 6 months if they don't get this guy, and you can
oh,
see
in
that.
6 months? No, I saw 6 months prior.
Oh, prior, okay.
But I did see in the snowy months there, possibly, I'm this month is almost over, but it's very possible something else could happen this month
Yeah.
before the end. I don't know what the
Yeah, you're seeing snow. You said
astrological
that
sign.
you said a little earlier, and it makes me think that you were having, like, a vision or something of snow or something was happening there. Now.
I'm
Yeah,
also getting well, yeah, I mean, sure, we want our safety, at the school, definitely, and everybody should be in large groups. Everybody should be, taking precautions on the computer. Don't go on to sites that expose you to outside people, like dating sites, that kind of thing.
exactly.
They need to be really careful about, I feel like the security's been boosted in the area since then, but I also get something about a church or something in the area as a possible place of a crime.
Mhm.
So the reason why I'm not focused on the um, school as much is because I feel that there still could be some outside incidents that happen with these people. They know that they're not going to be going back to the school.
Well, look at this. Ethan is a triplet. He has an identical brother and a sister, and I saw that earlier on. And thanks for
Oh,
reminding me. When you see Ethan, the personal name asteroid, which you can pull on astro.com, you can see him there in the sixth house, and it's squaring Mars in Gemini. And Lisa, I think you must have been listening when we were talking about things that were twins. And yes, that shows that Ethan was was a twin essentially. But it's interesting to see that square that, you know, it's just contacting Gemini so that there is that profile there that was part of Ethan. That was who he was. He was a twin. And it's very possible he had alcohol in his system because he came from a party, and that's why he's in Pisces. But I wanted to say something to the psychics and the astrologers who come on this channel. You can see, like I'm always saying, well, the Mars is not in good aspect, and it shows the police or it shows the purple. You can also see how astrologers will do and also how psychics will do. So in this chart, it if the astrologers were to focus on, say, Ceres, or if they focus on Pluto because there's a trine there, then they'll be able to get more information. If they focus on Saturn, where there's a square, Uranus square, then they might not get as much results. So you want to look at the trines to see how something will fare, how you can get to information more easily. And for Todd, he is a psychic. Psychics are mainly moon. I want to say Neptune to some degree, but I would say psychics have some really, I'd say, better aspects than the astrologers here, because of that grand trine there. And moon is in the 10th house. That's, that it's almost like the psychic can see. And there's a really good flow of energy. And then with Mars trine Neptune is spirits. So, you can really tap into the spirits for this case. So something for,
There's
yeah.
one more thing too. Since we're dealing with four young people here, so the way I would go about this case, this has just been a lot of general stuff, but a lot of times when there has been more than one person, I'd work with each family. So I would work with, you know, uh, one of the families of one of the kids, and I could probably get more information off of the crime just by doing that. It's not it's not in the normal what I normally do because I'm usually working with one crime, one person, but this is
Yes.
multiple.
Mhm.
So that's another angle I would use to try to uh, resolve this as much as I could is go from each victim's family
Gets you
and
closer.
yeah, the mediumship. A lot of people don't understand. We don't get. Somebody was saying
Yeah, this validates your church, thinking ninth house is church,
one of the
and
perps we're
Jupiter
gonna.
and Neptune trine the sun. The sun is God, uh,
Hmm.
and, I I don't know. I would say it's because Mars is in the ninth, that's like 2 churches because it's in Gemini. So I would almost look at like twin churches. Maybe he lives near the twin churches, or there's a road with twin
Yeah.
chapel, like Twin Chapel Drive, that kind of thing
Mhm.
would be the ninth house is a really great house to look for clues because
I got a church with pillars, by the way. So
pillars. Okay.
pillars outside. I believe white. But what I was saying about the mediumship part too is
Mhm.
that a lot of people watch too much TV. I hate to say it. In fact, I was just talking with today with another very famous psychic. I won't mention his name, but we happen to be friends from 20 years ago, and we were talking about it in mediumship, and what TV does a lot of times, and it people expect certain things from us when we're doing mediumship readings, such
Mhm.
as it's almost like, can you please, call grandma on the phone and I want to communicate with her. It
Yep.
doesn't work like that.
No, it's always different. But
And so,
what I notice with you, Todd, is the power of conversation for you really, opens up your mind. Like, once we talk for a little while, just things keep coming through. It's like a flow of energy. So that seems to be one way of, I think, communicating with the psychic is just constantly just talking things through, and it seems like that works for you.
like I said, I mean, actually, some of these girls are coming through to me in a way to um, they're kind of engaging in my thoughts quite a bit, and most of it has to do with their family. Um,
Yeah, I bet.
I'm getting mom
Yeah,
stuff like that. One of them has a sister,
yeah.
and I'm also getting the male that was assaulted here was a
Ethan.
lot like his father.
Oh,
I'm getting
it's
something medical in the family. I'm not sure if he was studying something medical school.
Apparently, he was very, very smart. I think I don't remember. I wanna say one of them was in marketing, but I
Mhm.
don't recall what he was. I think I heard engineer, I heard that he was a very, very smart kid,
Oh, yeah, yeah,
and, they're
I'm
just gutted.
getting
They're gutted.
master's, probably master's degree. I mean, that's like the other case that we were working on at the college in New Jersey,
Princeton.
you
That was Mizrach.
you look at these young people, and I hate to say it, the crimes are getting worse and worse every year.
I know,
Um,
I know.
and whenever I see younger people like this involved, I mean, it breaks my heart. I did one the other night of a 24-year-old guy who car had an accident off the road. And with no other vehicles involved and just died on the scene. And when you lose a child that young, it's
Mhm.
so hard for the families. And so who knows, maybe in the future, depending if they catch the people or not, the families, I could always do readings for them.
Mhm. I'm looking at, how Mars trines Saturn. That can show that a man waited, but it can also show that there's a man that's alone and he's in the bar. So I wonder if it's possible if there was one person that acted initially, or I think if the police they're going to because of the trine to the 5th, Mars trine to Saturn in the 5th, that's like they're going to talk to someone in the bar, and he knows it's an older guy, and he knows Madison in that bar. I don't think it's where they worked, I think it's the other place where they were, and they're going to be able to get some information that's gonna be helpful, but I don't think that he saw that group, because of that square there to the 2nd house.
Like in an outside area, at this place, possibly, that's very significant if
Mhm.
witnesses are asked, but something going on outside near the parking
Okay.
with the suspects, like they were seen there. I almost feel like one might have been in his vehicle there, but
One,
again,
what do you mean? What do you mean one?
one
One
suspect.
oh, suspect, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. So if they're questioning people at the bar, what area should they concentrate on at the
Mhm.
bar? The parking lot.
Okay, okay,
Okay.
good, that is a good clue. You see tons of witnesses, which is Mercury, and, they're in 2nd house there. No, well, this is around 3 AM though, so I think if you're gonna look at, um, when they were at the bar, everybody's in the 3rd house, that's 12:30. And, so people are talking, and you just have a ton of people that are drinking alcohol. So that's the problem with this. It's like you've got lots of, witnesses, which is great,
Mhm.
but then they're half of them are drunk, or half of them are not at capacity.